Hi, everybody. It's Ray McNulty with the Successful Practices Network and AASA Learning 2030, Leading Innovation Cohort 2 with a 5-minute update. We'll do these updates every now and then, give you some ideas, give you some details about the network, and won't take more than 5 minutes of your time. So let me get started. Some items to keep in mind. First, that you can always reach out to us for a call or a Zoom meeting or a chat. You want to share some ideas. You can connect with Deb Light. There's her email, and she'll arrange this for everybody. Next, I want you to try to remember to keep the focus of your work doable. Small chunks of work that go deep into the system really make a major impact in our schools. And this comes from the work and the book Focused by Mike Schmoker. I think it's a great book, and it keeps us really moving in the right direction. Sometimes we just take on too much work. Also, the best strategy for your GPS statement, and I've mentioned this before, is to label your first draft version 1.0. Then we can work on it. You can work on it. Your teams can work on it, change it, and label next version. And we'll keep track of all the versions, and that helps us give a sense of where we're going with this work. Some thoughts about the work. This whole idea of we have to really embrace uncertainty in this VUCA world. And the fact is, uncertainty is not temporary. It's really permanent in the world today. So it's important to embrace uncertainty. And there's really no calm water for us to paddle in. If you think about it being on a lake or in rapids in today's world. See, really, we have to realize the river will never be calm anymore. The uncertainty feels less threatening if we know we're always going to have that sense of uncertainty around us. And again, to kind of refocus on this issue, when we try to change everything, really we end up changing nothing. So small changes create really large impacts in the long run in your school, especially when we get those impacts to go deep into every classroom, every area of the school system, and not just on the top. Some help in developing your GPS statement. What is the future of learning in your system? You've seen that question, but I've added to that, like what would be one positive move toward achieving that goal for future learning in your district? That could be a good thing about a real focus for a GPS system, a GPS statement, sorry. What will the future look like for the learners in your organization? And what needs to be added to your system in order to achieve that? Might be one thing that we need to add, and that's a good thing as well to think about as a GPS statement. What kinds of change are your team members curious about? I think one of the things might even be to just try out new and different things and evaluate them. Do they work in your system? Do they not work in your system? How might they work in your system once you try it? How would you tweak it? Lastly is, why is the future important? Well, I mentioned this when we were together in Denver, is you have to look out for signals, and your team should be looking for signals, whether it's products, new strategies, whether there's policy in other countries, other states that seems to disrupt the system and be something that you're interested in. And where is there evidence or signals of the future in the making? Try to find those things, have conversations about them, gather your team together, share and discuss some of these ideas. Try out a new idea, get someone to try that out. I think that's an important piece. When we think about a sample GPS statement challenge, this is kind of like why we're doing the GPS. Like, what systems must we have in place to ensure we continue to provide highly relevant programs that enable our learners to succeed in the future, particularly in the kind of world we have? So what are the missing elements in your system in order for that achievement to occur? Maybe take a look at some of the skills of the future. Look at them. Are they all in your system? If they're not in your system, how might you apply those in your system? That's a good opportunity this year. Also, some of you have already taken me up on this idea, which is create a list of your fears about your GPS statement. What is it going to do? And monitor those fears and have conversations about them. And some of them will actually end up maybe not being fears, and some of them, maybe they'll get even more fearful. But the point really here is to not just push them aside, but to talk about them and study them. The last piece of advice in the VUCA world really is this. Formal training is really not enough anymore. You need to have experiences. In the world today, you must get out there and play. And so I think it's important for your teams to test the rules, break them, mend them. This is really critical for us all in a VUCA world, is to push the limits, constantly challenge the status quo. That's really where we're going to learn the most. We're going to learn it at that edge point. Final piece to this whole 5-minute call. Our website for you all is in its final stages of redesign. Deb will be sending out a link with pertinent information about logging into our community network. Once you get into it, you'll find that there'll be lots of podcasts. There'll be ways to communicate with Cohort 1, your other members in Cohort 2, to throw out questions. We'll monitor that and we'll answer. We'll put articles in there, all to help you all over this next year. Last, thanks for listening and engaging in this really important work. We'll do these 5-minute updates every now and then, probably once every 2 weeks or so. But if there's anything that you need to hear from us on, please don't forget to reach out. Thanks so much and have a great day.